It's time for an all-new Venom. Welcome to the Comicstorian Complete Story Series, where we take trade paperbacks and single issues and we break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then we read them dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. If you enjoy these stories, be sure to support the industry and go check them out at your local comic shop. Today, we are going to see the newest Venom in the Marvel Universe. Many individuals have been a host of the Venom symbiote, with Eddie and Dylan being the two most recent. But Venom returns today with a new look and a new host, unknown to everyone. This is All-New Venom Issue number 1 by Ewing. I hope you enjoy. Take a look at New York's newest symbiote, the lawyer says as he motions to the imprisoned and well-guarded Madame Mask. Those gathered in the courtroom murmur in surprise at his words, but the lawyer turns to them with a smile, explaining that he is merely speaking metaphorically and does not imply that she is a piece of slime from outer space. Though, she did come to New York to feed off the innocent people of the city for her own greed. Mask's defense attorney jumps to his feet at the words, shouting in anger at the prosecution's statement. The judge bangs her gavel and orders them both to calm down, motioning to the TV cameras in the back and reminding them that they are being live streamed, and she demands a sense of decorum. Luke Cage and Robbie Robertson look around from the back row. Sweet Christmas, we're televising federal trials now? Luke sighs quietly. Robbie nods, explaining that it's meant to get closure for families of Mask's victims, but he understands the concern. He motions to the prosecution lawyer, pointing out that if he screws up, then Madame Mask could go free. Darkness passes over Robbie's face. And I'll do anything in my power to stop that, he hisses. Luke looks at him in surprise for a moment, but they are suddenly joined by a third party before Luke can say anything. Hey gents, any heroes here looking for a sidekick? Rick Jones asks as he sits down with a smile and removes his sunglasses. Robbie introduces Rick to Luke, explaining that he is taking over as a celebrity columnist at the Bugle on all things costumed. We've definitely already met, right? Luke asks as he shakes Rick's hand. The young man nods and smiles. It'd be weird if we haven't, though I did spend a while dead. And a while green, Rick notes. Luke nods in remembrance. Right, you were a Hulk for a while, he says. Rick sits down. I've been a little bit of everything, Mr. Mayor. Who knows who I'll be next, Rick tells him. The trio watches as the trial continues before them, but there is a sudden commotion as Dr. Harlan McNeil takes the stand. He is introduced as a member of Advanced Idea Mechanics, who worked under Madame Mask in her goal of taking over the city. He explains that he was the one who created all the advanced weapons that she armed her goons with. McNeil smiles, and he adjusts his glasses as he points out that Mask is definitely guilty. But this farce of a trial is no longer necessary. We have human and electronic confirmation. Translocate on my signal, McNeil calls. He taps a button on his glasses, and there is a flash of light. Suddenly, an armored individual is floating in the center of the courtroom. Greetings, Rabble. I am Andrew Forson, A.I.M's one true leader, and it is time for A.I.M to send a message, the armored man says. Luke jumps to his feet and pushes Rick and Robbie towards the door. Jones, get Robbie out of here now, Luke shouts as he surges forward. Rick doesn't hesitate and pulls Robbie towards the exit, but 3 more armored A.I.M soldiers appear in the courtroom, moving to grab hold of those gathered and make them hostages while Forson moves towards Mask's cage. As Rick and Robbie head towards the doors, one of the armored soldiers begins to translocate before them. He's materializing right in front of us, Robbie shouts. Rick nods and doesn't stop. Materializing, not materialized. Ready to take a chance? Rick shouts as they barrel through the soldier and out into the hallway. Now we split up. He can't chase us both. We both try to find a cop or a phone or something, Rick says as he rushes away. Robbie nods and looks around to see if anyone is watching him before heading for the stairs. Sure, I'll find something, he whispers. Back in the courtroom, Luke rushes forward and punches Forsen in the face, hard enough to crack his visor. But Forsen shrugs off the attack.
It's fine. A stress test for this battle armor, but it can take any blow and absorb the kinetic energy and dish it back out.
Forsen shouts as he hits Luke with an energy-charged punch that sends him through a nearby window. Luke flies through the air and begins to plummet towards the street below, but isn't overly worried. Okay, time to really go to work, he whispers to himself. In the courtroom, Forsen turns back to Madame Mask's prison, but is shocked to find that the woman has disappeared. He looks to the floor and realizes that she escaped through a hole in the ground.
A tunnel? While we were distracted? But how?
Forsen whispers. Suddenly, a voice calls to him from the destroyed window. The question isn't how, Forsen. It's who. Any ideas? Venom asks with a smile, his tongue swinging around as the sun reflects off his new gold symbol. Forsen regards the anti-hero for a moment before turning back to one of his armored allies.
Fowler, under the gold foil. It's just another symbiote monster. Kill it,
he orders. Fowler leaps at Venom, who easily flips over the attack. That's kill them. We're not an it. We're Venom. Don't wear it out. Venom snarls as he flips over another attack and kicks Fowler in the back, knocking him away. But the kick has powered up Fowler's kinetic blasts, and he rushes forward.
That's it. I'm gonna take Brock's head off.
Fowler snarls. But Dr. McNeil has been watching the fight take place, and he realizes something. That's not Brock, he whispers. Another armored soldier launches to help Fowler as Dr. McNeil gets Forsen's attention. I'm a specialist in superhuman body language, sir. I know every Venom's fighting style. I'm telling you, whoever's piloting that symbiote has never been seen before, McNeil explains. Fowler brings down a punch packed with kinetic energy, but Venom creates an airbag on his arm and takes the brunt of the attack, bursting the inflated arm without damaging himself. He smiles and leaps over a second attack. Symbiote airbag. Absorbs all the extra energy so we don't have to, Venom explains as he continues to dodge over the twin armored warrior attacks. McNeil continues to watch the fight, studying the new Venom's moves. I could swear I've seen whoever's inside that symbiote before, and recently, he whispers. Another armored AIM goon joins the fight, and McNeil watches as Venom fights off 3 armored soldiers, giving the hostages in the courtroom enough time to finally escape. The third man charges in, but Venom backflips off his back and knocks him to the ground, spraying him with webbing and sticking him to the ground. Hold that pose, Venom jokes. But one of the other soldiers grabs him from behind.
I got him! Maddox, hit him!
The soldier shouts. Venom struggles for a moment, managing to shoot a blast of webbing into the approaching Maddox's chest. But the goon laughs at the attack, his fists glowing with kinetic energy.
You just made a mess on my armor. So what are you gonna do when your goo isn't enough, freak?
Maddox growls. The Venom suddenly smiles. He twists and grabs the AIM soldier that has him pinned, suddenly tossing him over his shoulder and slamming him into Maddox's chest, pinning the soldiers together. Venom stands over them for a moment. I've got judo, he notes. Venom turns and glares at Forsen and McNeil, who are still watching.
All right, I see there's no more to be gained here, but know this. Whoever's in there, I've studied every form of alien life. I know symbiotes, and I know Venom. Getting on AIM's radar was a grave mistake.
Forsen snarls before teleporting away with McNeil. Venom turns back to the other AIM goons and watches as the other 3 suddenly teleport away. Nice threats! Translocating away like whipped dogs really sells them. You've made our list, and that's your grave mistake. Because we're an all-new Venom. Venom says before leaping back out the window and swinging away. Everyone still in the courtroom suddenly looks up, realizing that the battle has ended. That thing needs to be destroyed! The prosecution lawyer suddenly shouts, motioning after Venom. The judge sits up behind her bench. That thing might have saved our lives, Mr. Delacourt. Unless you trust the good nature of terrorist cult leaders, she tells him. Suddenly, Luke Cage, Rick Jones, and Robbie Robertson walk through the door, all shocked to hear about a new Venom. Can someone clue me into what happened to Madame Mask? Luke asks. And the new Venom, Rick chimes in as they move to help people that had been trapped during the fight. Rick smiles and nudges Robbie. Too bad the Bugle's New Cape columnist wasn't here to see that one. Right, Robbie? Talk about bad timing, Rick says. Robbie just stares at him for a moment and nods. Rick, grab Luke when he's free and meet me outside. We need to talk. In private, Robbie tells him. In a short time, the three men are standing in the hallway, and Robbie starts asking questions. Like where Rick went when he was supposed to be looking for police. Or what happened to Luke after the attack. I got punched out of the building, Luke says. And there's never a cop around when you need one, Rick explains, pointing out that Robbie was supposed to be looking for help as well. Robbie nods and explains that he got lost in the stairwell. Though neither of the men seem to buy this as an alibi either. So, none of us were here when Venom was, and we can't vouch for our own whereabouts, Robbie notes quietly. Or Madame Mask's, apparently, Luke adds. The three men stare at each other, the suspension growing. Meanwhile, across the city, Mary Jane Watson returns to her home dressed as Jackpot, where she finds Paul Rabin waiting for her, though he seems unhappy, complaining about how their new guest has been treating him all day. And how is the little troublemaker? MJ asks as she moves through the house, pulling off her Jackpot glasses. Paul shakes his head and sighs. Surly, angry, he barely touched dinner. He's been on the spare laptop all evening. He's obsessed, MJ, Paul tells her. She nods. He's a kid, Paul. A homeless kid who's been through hell, she reminds him. Suddenly, a voice calls from the living room. MJ, is that you? Finally, someone useful. Get in here. Dylan Brock yells from the living room. The adults round the corner into the living room. Let's moderate our tone, young man, Paul tells the teen. Dylan cocks an eyebrow at him. Whatever, Top Knot, Dylan snorts. He shows them the laptop, explaining that he's been studying footage from the recent Venom sightings. There were 4 people who were in the courtroom when A.I.M came from Madame Mask, but weren't there when Venom arrived at the fight, Dylan explains. He holds up the laptop and shows them images of Luke Cage, Rick Jones, Robbie Robertson, and Madame Mask. Anger flashes across Dylan's face. One of these people has the Venom symbiote. My symbiote. And I'm not gonna stop until I get my Venom back. And there you have it. Who is the new host of the Venom symbiote? Let me know your guesses in the comments down below. I did somehow miss this comic when it first came out, but hey, better late than never. And don't worry, we are planning on bringing the Venom War full story to the channel pretty soon. So be sure to subscribe for that and for when the all-new Venom 2 video comes to the channel. I'm Dan with Comicstorian, and we will see you next time. Rest in peace, Benny.